What is poppin' and choppin' my Bagel Bites? It is Mr. Bagel Bites here, bringing you a combo video, I think, for the first time on the channel. But after the Blue Eyes video, it was so heavily requested, I figured I'd go ahead and show some basic combos, as well as some bigger ones later on in the video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's just show what we can do with just a ether barrel. This is typically a really easy starting play if you just have this. So we're going to go ahead and summon the ether barrel. When that's summoned, it's going to go ahead and trigger, and it's going to lay our load on our opponent. We got the Lordly Load. Go ahead and activate that. When that's activated, we can go ahead and grab a Primite Drill Beam. So that's in hand now. Then we can go ahead and link off the ether barrel to summon our Spirit with Eyes of Blue. When that's summoned, it's going to go ahead and trigger its effect, and that's going to get us a Mausoleum of White. So we're not even going to play like the Mausoleum. We're not even going to show that just for like this play alone. So then we're going to go ahead and activate our Lordly Load. That's going to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. We can go ahead and link off the Spirit and the Blue Eyes. And that honestly gets us a Heavenly Spheres. So when it's our opponent's turn, we're honestly in a pretty good spot here. And the dreaded Seal's Pass if we want to play under some summons here, because that plays under Nib right there. That's only 4 summons. So they're going to go ahead and go. We can activate our, and we would set the Drill Beam here. Sorry about that at the end phase. On their turn, we can go ahead and like Heavenly Seals them, bounce their card. That's going to go ahead and special summon the second Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. And then when they try to make another play, we can Primite Drill Beat them, because now we fulfill the conditions of having the Blue Eyes White Dragon on board. And that's honestly what you can do with just Primite Ether Barrel. And then on your turn, that's going to go ahead and re-add itself. And then you're just off to the races all over again, as you're definitely playing your second Spirit. We'll go ahead and get into another one. And then with the second hand here, I'm going to go ahead and show you another hand that also plays around Nib. It can end on a really strong board, which doesn't seem it, but the amount of interaction you get is really good. And that's honestly just Barrel plus Sage, and then an extra card we'll discard later using our wishes. So you don't even technically need it for this, but we'll go ahead and get into it. I'll set this hand up here. So you're going to summon your barrel. The barrel's going to go ahead and set and drop the load on your opponent. The load's going to activate. That's going to get you a Drill Beam. You're going to go ahead and link off barrel here. We'll go ahead and put our graveyard here. That's fine. The barrel's going to go ahead and get the Spirit. The Spirit activates. That's going to get you your Mausoleum. Really cool here. So ideally what you're going to want to do is activate your Mausoleum's additional effect to summon before you dump the Blue Eyes. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get our additional normal here. That's going to get our Maiden. We can discard our Maiden that we just added off the Sage. That's going to go ahead and set our True Light to the field. Super cool, super cool. Next we can activate the Mausoleum's effect, targeting either Spirit or Sage. I don't think it really matters. We'll target the Sage, dumping the Blue Eyes to the graveyard from our deck. Then we can go ahead and tribute it. That's going to go ahead and special summon the big guy here. You want to get the one from the graveyard. There we go with Spirit. And then we're going to go ahead and we can go ahead and make a 9 here. That's going to go ahead and, oops, I accidentally skipped a step. You can do it a little bit out of order right here, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead and get our Spirit Dragon. And then so we still have this and this. We can activate our True Light here. That's going to go ahead and set our Wishes of Blue. We can go ahead and activate that, discarding our random card. Irrelevant there. That's going to go ahead and add 2 cards from our deck to our hand. If we've gotten this far, honestly, there's a couple good ways. If you think they're on Nib, you can grab Majesties, or if you think, if you don't think they're on Nib, you can grab the trap card Majesties, I believe it's called. But if you do think they're on, we're going to go ahead and grab Roar, and we can just grab a Veiler, honestly, for follow up there. So that will go to the graveyard, which is cool. From here, we would go ahead and just sit the Drill Beam, honestly, and we could just pass to see if they have a response, because they're going to want to interact with this. So if they do, they're going to go Nib here. So this will get tributed. We'll get a Nib token. We'll say this is it, and then we're still in our main phase because they have to activate it there. So then we're going to go ahead, since we're back in our phase, this is just Drill Beam, I'll just show it here. We'll activate our Lordly Load. It's going to special summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck. When that's special summoned from our deck, that go ahead and triggers the Maiden in the graveyard. When Maiden comes back here, we'll just move these a little bit, because then what we're going to do is we're going to banish our Wishes with Eyes of Blue from our graveyard here. What that does is it equips our Blue Eyes with an extra deck fusion monster. We'll pick the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and equip it to the Blue Eyes White Dragon here. What that does gives us a little bit of an attack boost, and then we could turn this into Tyrant. What I think is going to be the best play here, we're going to go ahead and Synchro again, which will send the Neo Blue Eyes, which is a nice little targeting negate in the graveyard, and that's going to go ahead and get us our Spirit Dragon. And honestly, I would probably just pass on this. We could extend a little further since we have the Roar. I would rather use that for follow-up. Because then what we're going to have on our opponent's turn is we're going to have True Light that can activate basically immediately. We can get our Blue Eyes White Dragon back, which will trigger the Maiden, which immediately turns the Drill Beam live. We have a Veiler in hand for negation of a monster effect. This is an Omni negate, basically. This is a Graveyard negate, and they can't, like, summon 2 monsters at once, so if they're on Penned or Snake Eyes Dragon, they can't do that. You have this little token here, but that's whatever. The True Light already activated, and then after you resolve all this, we can tag him out, and that gets the big guy out, the Ultimate Spirit Dragon, on your opponent's turn, which is, I'm realizing now, the camera's blocking that, and that is an Omni negate there as well, and then when he's destroyed at end phase, if he makes it there, you get to bring back and you can do it all over again. Super, super cool. I'm a big fan of it. We can go ahead and do another one. Yeah. Well, what can we do if we don't have the extra discard? And go ahead and show that here in the awesome Primite synergy with the deck. Summon the Primite, barrel, that sets our load, load activates, that gets us Drill Beam. So that's super cool. Oh, what's that? Oh, Wishes. Wishes is super cool here because we can discard the Drill Beam to go ahead and add Sage and Roar. We can then go ahead and set the Drill Beam from the graveyard using the effect of it since we control a Primite monster still. Then we can go ahead, link this off. That gets us our... This is a little bit out of order. Here we go. Our Spirit, and then our Spirit is going to go ahead and add us our Mausoleum. We can go ahead and use the additional normal of the Mausoleum. That's going to go ahead and get us our Sage. Since we have the Sage here, that's going to go ahead and activate. That gets us our Maiden. And then Maiden effect, we can discard her. And that gets us our True Light. And that's to the field, not the hand. From here, we can activate our Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. That'll special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck. We can then go ahead and banish the Wishes with Eyes of Blue from our graveyard. That will equip, yep, perfect, the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to the Blue Eyes. We can then synchro these off. That gets us our Ultimate Spirit Dragon. And then we can activate our True Lights effect to set our Majesties to the field. So we go ahead and have True Light, which we can immediately activate on our opponent's turn already. We also have the Primite Drill Beam. And we still have all this, and we still haven't even used our other effects yet. So next we can go ahead and use our Spirit Dragon's effect. That'll go ahead and special summon a Blue Eyes from the graveyard. That will trigger the Maiden. Okay, and then we can activate our Mausoleum's effect, targeting Maiden, sending a Blue Eyes from the deck to the graveyard, which will trigger the Maiden effect, or the Mausoleum effect targeting the Maiden. The Maiden's effect will then activate to special summon the Sage with Eyes of Blue from the graveyard. Then we can go ahead and synchro Shokan here into our second Spirit Dragon. And since we have those two, we can now activate the effect of our Primite Lordly Load to special summon, I believe they're both in there, yes, the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. And we can synchro these two. And that gets us our third Spirit Dragon. So now we have all of this set up in 3 Spirit Dragons. So once the opponent's turn runs by, we can tribute the first Spirit Dragon to get our Ultimate Dragon. We can then tribute our second Spirit Dragon to get our Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon effect will activate. We can target our Ultimate Spirit Dragon, He gets bounced back there, and we can either get... I like both these options, Cypher or Blazar. I think there is reasons where you should go for Cypher, and I think there are decks where you should go for Blazar. I think Blazar is really, really strong. I think it's a lot of the time the better option, but Cypher is just honestly really good too. And the fact that it will stop the Blue-Eyes Spirit from destroying itself at end phase due to the effect of the Spirit Dragon is really cool. So you won't get like that. But you still have this one on board too, which is another graveyard negate. You can have an Omni negate right here, an Omni negate right here. You get to bring back your guys, the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Maiden off of True Light, which immediately enables the Drill Beam again. We use that, and then we have 2 pops with the Majesties as well. So that's like a really big uninterrupted type board. Let's show another basic combo we can do with just wishes here and a card to discard. We go ahead and activate our wishes here, discard a random card, irrelevant. That goes to the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and grab Sage and Roar. We can go ahead and add Summon Roar. That will add our Maiden of White. We can discard our Maiden to grab our True Light, so that's going to go ahead and be active there. Then we can go ahead and activate the Roar. That will special summon Blue Eyes from our deck, which will trigger the Maiden in the graveyard. Then we can go ahead and remove, where is it? The wishes from our graveyard. That's going to go ahead and equip the Blue Eyes with Neo Burst, or Ultimate Dragon, Neo Ultimate. We can synchro here. That's going to go and make us our Spirit Dragon number 1. And then we can go ahead and activate our True Light in the True Light on the field to special summon the Blue Eyes again from the grave. And we can actually just make a second Spirit right here too. And then we can go ahead and pass to our opponent. And then it's the same song and dance. You know, you tribute, and then that target tags out, and you can make Blazar or Cypher, I believe, are probably the best 2 still. And then you still have the True Light on field to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your grave, which will also get the Maiden. So those are all active on your opponent's turn as well. And then with this one, I'll show a kind of interesting play you can do with the Maiden, showing some of the other monsters that this deck can play that's kind of interesting. So we'll go ahead and discard our Maiden, activating its effect. Going to go ahead and set the True Light from our deck, and this is like just the one blank. Then we can go ahead and activate its effect to set our prayers, which we'll go ahead and activate, discarding our blank, and that's going to go ahead and add us our Sage and our Roar. That is a graveyard there. We'll go ahead and summon our Sage here, which will activate its effect. That's going to go ahead and get us an Effect Veiler, so that's kind of cool for follow-up. We can then link that off for our Spirit with eyes of blue to add our Mausoleum. We can then activate the Mausoleum effect, targeting the Spirit here to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon. We can then go ahead and activate Roar here to special summon a Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. So here's where this is kind of cool. We'll activate the True Light. Or no, I'm sorry. We already activated True Light. We'll tribute the Spirit Dragon. That will go ahead and play our Blue Eyes from our graveyard, which will also trigger our Maiden of White. We can then go ahead and synchro the Jet and the Maiden off. That will make a Blue Eyed Spirit Dragon. Then what we can do is we can banish our Wishes that was in the graveyard from play. That will go ahead and equip the Blue Eyes White Dragon with a Neo. We can then go ahead and tribute this off to fulfill the conditions of Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon from our extra deck, which is a Blue Eyes equipped with a fusion monster. So what's kind of interesting about this is, then if this is later in the game, we can set like an Imperm or a Dominus Impulse, or even our Majesties if it's later in the game. So this is really cool for follow-up, just having it. I'm really liking Tyrant Dragon the more I play it, and think it's just a really strong monster. We have a Graveyard Negate and kind of a Floodgate effect with the Spirit Dragon. We can also go ahead and tag it out. That brings out our Ultimate Spirit Dragon. True Light can bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon as well as the Maiden, which is cool, so that's interaction there. But we also have the Veiler in hand that we added off the Sage. So anytime a card would be destroyed on the board, which probably will at some point, we do get the Jet Dragon back too for free. And then the Blue Eyes is in the graveyard, so that protects everything on the board. So that's another kind of cool, just like fun interaction. Another thing as well that you might not be thinking when you have the Spirit Dragons on board, because I haven't seen a lot of people do it for some reason. They wait for their opponent's turn to activate their Spirit Dragons. You're not required to do that. You have the option here of tributing on your turn still. Let's say this is your turn. We can tribute here to get our Crimson Dragon on our turn, which is super fun. We'll tribute the other Spirit Dragon. We'll go ahead and get our Ultimate Dragon, which would normally now pop itself at the end phase due to this. Not fun. We'll activate the Crimson Dragon instead on our turn to get Stardust Cipher. And what Stardust Cipher is, every time the first time a card on your field would be destroyed, it is instead not destroyed. So what's really cool about that is now we can go ahead and bring back Blue Eyes using load at the end phase effect like you typically want to. Now our Drill Beam is live. Anything else in hand, let's say. This is a pretty standard. Ending on 2 Spirit plus like this back row is pretty standard in this deck. You can definitely go more explosive, especially with more cards in hand. But then having the Cipher here will protect this from being exploded. So you have that. So this is active as an Omni Negate. This is an Omni Negate. And if you have, like in the previous combo where I showed Jet in the graveyard, where I was talking about that a little bit earlier, I would have him in here. When one of the Cipher negates a card, it's immediately going to trigger the Jet Dragon to come back to protecting your cards. You already have the Blue Eyes on board. Ideally, you probably have Maiden in here as well, but let's say we don't, just because I wanted to put it here for load. Now your Drill Beam's immediately on. 2 Omni Negates, Drill Beam, like this protection. Like this deck has on a lot of cool things. But let me know what you guys thought down below. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button. If you have any other questions on the deck, feel free to drop them. I've been playtesting a bit more, and honestly, like the deck just feels stronger the more I playtest. But I definitely think I'm going to change up some of the hand trap lineup. I'm starting to go hit or miss on Purge, for instance. I've talked about it before. I do really think this card is not necessarily essential in the Ryziel in the Ryziel match, but I do think it's really strong because as soon as you hit that duo drive, you're just feeling really good, especially depending on what else you have for follow-up. But I do think I'm going to end up playing Ogre in the main, but I'll probably do another deck profile a little bit closer to the deck's release in February. But stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe. Thank you, members. I appreciate you, and as always, I will catch you later.